Welcome to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast with your host, legendary powerlifter and strength athlete, Chad Ikes. For most, the journey of strength starts in the gym, but should inevitably expand through all aspects of life. Join us as we discuss all things strength. Now, here's your host, Chad Ikes.
Hello, everyone. This is actually your co-host, not Chad Ikes. This is Amber, and we're kicking it off with another quote episode. We're on a roll right now, and we got a good one.
Yeah, we've actually just shot 4 at once. You just don't through the magic of the internet. It seems like it's 4 or 5 days.
Doesn't exist.
So this quote is actually one that Amber picked out that I kind of like, and I think she's gonna chirp on me about this one a little bit.
We're gonna dig a little bit.
So this is a Charles Darwin quote.
Chuck.
Or Amber says Chuck Darwin, because they're on the nickname basis.
Yeah, we're buds. We're old friends.
It is the long history of humankind and animal kind too, that those who learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively have prevailed.
This one speaks to my soul, because I have literally done nothing on my own. Not a damn thing.
Go ahead.
I love it because it's hitting on the core of collaboration and working with other people or other ideas or anything else other than you as an individual, as an independent person, and using that to make yourself better, to make society better, to make whatever community you're in better, is using other people, other ideas, other things. Because I'm of the perspective that you can't do it alone.
I think you can do some great things alone, but I think that, if you just go through our history, what one person made anything great?
Mm-hmm.
Like buildings, a massive building, you need a crew. You need a lot of guys to do that. Mm-hmm. To run a great business, you need employees. So basically, even if you're the guy that started the company, you at some point have other management that you're relying on. You have employees. A bridge was never built by one person.
Mm-hmm.
A person could maybe write a very influential book on his own.
Mm-hmm.
But then that book's going to have to go to teachers that gets transferred to students, to everyone else. I kind of think back to the 1800s and mountain men.
Yeah.
There was a lot of mountain men that lived their lives basically alone and took care of everything they needed to take care of. But what did they do that was really any great for humankind or animal kind? So it has to be a collaboration for something actually really great to happen, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm going to steal your line and I'm going to relate it to powerlifting. I'm stealing your line.
You're my girlfriend. It's okay. What's mine is yours, even my sayings.
Your sayings. So with powerlifting.
Amber motherfucking Hansen.
Yeah. Oh man, I get a motherfucking moment. That's tough. With powerlifting, especially nowadays, you see a lot more solo lifters. You see people who go in, they don't talk to anyone, they put their headphones on, they do their work, and then they leave. And you can make the argument that, on the platform, no one else is lifting that weight for you. I could see that. But in order to get to the platform, look at all the people that have a hand in that. Even if you are a solo lifter, look at that gym owner whose gym you're lifting at, whose kilos you're using. Look at that meet director whose meet they're putting on for you to lift in. Look at the singlet you're wearing, the sleeves that you have on. That's someone else. Like, even if you want to get really, really nitty gritty with it, like, no, it's just me. It's me against everything. It's me against the weights. There's something or someone supporting you in everything. And I think that the art of the crew is freaking dying, unfortunately. And that's kind of what I wanted to get at on here, is how incredible it is to lift with a team of people who are all on the same page, who are all working towards the same objective, and who are in sync with each other, and you compete against each other, and it just makes it so much better to effectively prevail. Chuck Darwin.
I think, like, my first thought is Blaine Sumner, because he does some crazy shit by himself. But you'll still see his wife out spotting him or handing off. And it's like, okay, even if you did do it to yourself, did you learn about technique by yourself? Did you learn about the exercises by yourself? Did you read a book, or were you on the internet, or did you compete and you learned stuff at competitions?
Yeah.
Like, to say that it's truly only one person, that's almost impossible.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I do agree. We kind of talked before this, where I quit my football in my senior year. I quit my football. Quit the football team my senior year of high school. And like, I had just had it with team sports. I had it with people that didn't want it as bad as I did. And so I quit. I started throwing immediately. And I mean, I was captain of the track team, and it was like, okay, well, the team part's cool. And I lead stretching and I do all this, lead the warm ups. But in the end of the day, I was like, did I do good at throwing?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until powerlifting and I started my own team that it was like, kind of like this.
Yeah. Because
I actually had a choice, and I had guys that actually cared, and guys that would, like you said, that team mentality is dying. And even if we had, say, 4 guys, like, somebody would be like, hey, I want to do this meet. And it'd be like, okay, well, you do the meet, and then us 2 will go handle, and then you flip flop. And the guys are always helping out. And it's like, when you have a team, not everybody's going to train exactly the same. Mm-hmm. So I would have guys that may be on a deload. I may be like, dude, you're not touching a weight for a week. Like, your sleep's effed up. No, but they'll still come in. They'll come in and load plates. They'll come in and help and watch technique, video. Like, they're still there, and vice versa. Then when the other guy may not need to come in to train, he's still going to come in, because that's the time we all train, and we're a team.
Yeah. Yeah. This just happened recently. So at Elite, I train with Todd Brock, and he's one of my training partners, and he couldn't make a Saturday squat session. He said, hey, I'm going to come in early on Sunday before we bench and get that in. And I was like, cool, let me know what time. I'll be there. He didn't need a whole lot of help, but it didn't matter, because if that was me, I know that he would have done that for me.
Yeah.
And that level of trust, that's that accountability. Your teammates hold you accountable when you're having a bad day, or you're like, oh, I don't feel good, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. That happens. But if you know that your lack of presence is going to impact someone else, or maybe not let them down, that might be a little harsh, but if you know that that's going to happen, like, you're still going to go, because you have that, like, sense of team, that loyalty. Like, that's your pack, basically, and you don't want to let them down.
So my wolf pack of 1, that doesn't count?
No, it's a wolf pack of 2 now, remember?
It is a wolf pack of 2 now, definitely. So I think I got 2 thoughts. One of the thoughts is, even in this one, he says, learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it doesn't mean just be a team and just count on other people, but it means to do it effectively and be a part of that team, where sometimes you're getting the help and sometimes you're doing the help.
Yeah, that's a really good piece to bite off on, because I've been a part of shitty teams.
Yeah.
I've been a part of teams where people are inconsistent, or they're kind of just half-assing, or they're not helping load or spot or whatever, and that's not effective. And you know what that does? That just tanks morale for everyone. So it might be the entire group is good to go and they're solid, and there's one person, just all it takes is one to make something like that ineffective. It's so temperamental and so like beautiful when it's done properly, but one person can ruin the whole thing.
But on that note, I think that's, if you have, like on my team, I was king.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still had the final say all the time.
Chad.
But I ran it like a democracy. Like I never just said, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I said, what do you guys think? So we would have, like, if somebody wanted to come in, first of all, I'd check, is everyone cool? You know, like you got to meet the people on the team. I'm not going to say, because it is important that they all know and like that person.
Yep.
And then if they're all like, yeah, let's give them a shot. Well, then I was still checking in and like coordinating what everyone thought to make sure everyone was talking to each other. And we had tons and tons of guys that everybody's like, nah, like they're not loading plates, or they're not doing this, or we don't think they're paying attention. It's like, all right, well then they're out. Mm-hmm. Like if they're a distraction to my original core, I got to get rid of them because I want that team to work well. And if they do good, then they eventually become part of that core team.
Yeah.
But it's up to everyone else to speak up and say what they think. Like everybody has a stake.
Yeah. And that was kind of your role as the leader. You gave the rest of the team ownership. Mm-hmm. Thing I teach my students is you can't just dictate it. You can't be the Hitler of the group. You can't just be, this is how it's going to go. They have to have buy-in. And if everyone has buy-in, everyone, like, there's sometimes stupid shit happens and you have to like cut it off and be like, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. But that buy-in and giving them ownership of like, okay, this is our team. We have something special that we need to protect. And having you as the leader of the team set that vision and set those expectations, and everyone is on the same page, like that's when the effectiveness happens.
Yeah. And one of the other things I thought was kind of like that we've talked about a lot recently, because I've pretty much been kind of an antisocial person most of my life, on and off. But I think that like some of the traits that I have that are kind of negative, like if I'm with the right person, and I think I am with the right person, they can kind of offset that, and like they become my better half that watches the faults that I'm not doing too well at to lift me back up and make sure I'm doing good, and vice versa to that. Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, paralleling it to a relationship, it's the same concept: collaborating, improvising, figuring out those things that the other person might not be so good at, and then helping them with that, and vice versa. And that's when it becomes effective.
And then to go back to powerlifting, that's the teammates that go, dude, listen, you're strong, but your technique sucks, man. Yeah. Like, we got to fix your technique. And I know you don't want to, but dude, we're here. We want you to be successful, so let's start working on it. And you just keep hammering on them till they start doing it.
I want you to compete with me. I want to have a contender. I want someone to battle with on these days. So I'm going to make you that person so that you're that much better, so that I can be that much better.
Yeah. And when you have a bad day, or when you're not seeing, and I was notorious for not seeing when I was overtraining. Mm-hmm. And like in the beginning, I got tons of great stories about this shit. Like just arguing with my teammates, and in the end they were right. And it took me a little while to be able to go. I mean, it got to the point where Ethan's like, dude, you're done. That's it. Like there's no point in you going any further in today's session. And I'm like, okay, that really sucks and pisses me off, but all right.
I don't like it, but we've built that trust and communication, so okay.
Yeah, and how many times would I have done something dumb without them going, hey, cut it, you're out. That's enough.
I've been fortunate enough to have like really good teams I started, so I haven't had a whole lot of that. I've had a lot of people, a lot of eyes on me saying, no, not today, Amber. And for whatever reason, I listened.
And I guarantee if I wouldn't have had the guys around me that I did, there's no way I would have been as good as I was.
Yeah.
I mean, I taught those guys, and then together we expanded our knowledge, and then I had somebody watching me, and it wasn't like, oh, it's Chad, you can't say nothing to him. Like, all of my guys are like, fuck. And they would, Chad, you're fucking this up. You're not sitting back, or you are sitting back, or you're not rooting hard enough. Or like, I always had guys watching me as I was watching them.
Yeah.
And that's something that it's so hard to do yourself, because as a human, it's so easy to lie to ourselves.
Yeah. And
fake ourselves out. And then proprioception is a whole different subject to go down, where you could have great proprioception and you could have one injury and shit starts going wrong. Mm-hmm. Or you start changing, you change a movement a little bit for whatever reason, and all of a sudden everything gets askewed. Where if you have good guys that are on top of you and actually care how successful you are and how you're doing, they're watching that all the time, and you always have this feedback. I mean, 3 pairs of eyes is better than 1 pair of eyes. And if it's you don't even really have a pair of eyes. Even if you're just watching on video, like you don't have, it's not the same as being there and walking around someone while they're lifting and catching all that.
Completely agree. And you taught them how to do that. That's the big part, is people get in this thing. They're like, well, I can't build a crew. I can't do this stuff. Like, no, it takes work to build a team. Like, you have to handpick people, and then like, it might be from the ground up. Like, you have to teach them how you need to be helped, and help them how you want to be helped. And in the long run, it's going to be great, but it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes someone who's willing to do that, because they know how great it can be.
It's pretty much just like getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
It don't happen overnight. It takes years and years and years, and it takes persistency and discipline and consistency. And you got to do the same thing if you're trying to build a team.
Yeah. Everything.
You get one guy and you start doing good, and then you draw in another guy, and it just builds slowly.
2-man wolf pack, 3-man wolf pack, and then it grew by 4. And then with Vegas.
I do love wolves. Okay, so that was a pretty cool quote.
Yeah,
I think we expanded and took it a lot of different places.
Yeah, we that one.
And I mean, coming from somebody who's been kind of antisocial most of his life, it's kind of weird to say all this stuff, but I really do think that there's a huge benefit to being on a good team, or having a good relationship, or
right. Recorded, so I'll remember this.
Any of that stuff.
Dykes is a team player.
With the right team, yeah. All right, guys. I hope you like this quote session and our new format change. I say format change like we're some big deal.
Big deal to us.
It's like WKRP. And so please like the channel, subscribe to it. Please share it. If you know anybody that you think would do well listening to this, share it. And help us make this thing grow so we can do even more of these, because I kind of have fun doing it.
It's a good time.
All right. So thank you guys for listening. And until next time, I'm out. And Amber's out.
Thanks for listening to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast. For more information, please visit CourageBarbell.com. Until next time.